a master of great philosophers, a man who changed the history of philosophy. Socrates, the one who died for his ideas. Wait, who would die for his ideas? Which ideas are worth dying for? If you knew that you were to die today, would you be satisfied with your life? In Socrates, we can see a unity between his life and his thought. For everything he believed in and thought, he made it a way of life, bringing it to its ultimate consequences. Actually, he died after being condemned to death in an unfair trial. Socrates was a contemporary of the Sophists and was in continuous contention with them. As we saw in our previous video, Sophists usually taught how to speak well and they charged for it. And those who learned this technique usually wanted to make money and gain power. They were not interested in truth, but in their own interests. But the Sophists found in Socrates their kryptonite. Socrates thought the truth existed. He conceived the soul as the most essential and intimate part of us. It is our most important wealth, and it is what we should care for the most. We may have material goods, pleasures, honor, fame, but these things are external and transitory, and above all, they don't wholly depend on ourselves. Worrying excessively about these things, as the Sophists did, can make us forget what's the most important thing to us: our life, our soul. Socrates said that our soul is rational, and therefore we should live our lives according to reason. We must look inside of us so we can get to know us better. That way, through the use of reason and virtue, we can control our passions. But Socrates was not the type of guy who would stay all day long home, sitting down, thinking, contemplating. He spent most of his time dialoguing with people and inviting them to reflect. He was a philosopher committed to awaken others the need to take care of their own souls, to act virtuously, following the guide of reason. And all of that without gaining any money. But to do this, he first had to convince them that they had to change their way of living, to change their way of thinking. But many times, the people that spoke with Socrates didn't feel that they had to learn anything new. They thought they were already wise. Socrates said, "All I know is that I know nothing." The attitude of recognizing his own ignorance led him to keep asking himself always the same questions, going every time deeper and deeper and deeper. Socrates thought that he could lead that people to recognize their own ignorance. Only then he would be able to guide them through the path of truth. Socrates' famous method is known as meiotics. Meiotics in Greek can either mean the technique or practice of assisting women in childbirth. Socrates tells us that his mother was a midwife and that he considered himself a kind of midwife.
What?
Socrates helped the person whom he was speaking with to give birth to their own ideas and thoughts. But to make the others acknowledge that they were ignorant, Socrates had to be ironic. He had to show to his interlocutors that their opinions contradicted, and then he would be able to show them that they knew nothing. This made many people get angry with Socrates, because he made them look stupid. And that's why some of them, filled with resentment, took him to trial and accused him of corrupting the youth and being an atheist. Socrates, who had lived his whole life according to what he thought, preferred to accept condemnation rather than leaving his philosophical activity. Socrates was condemned to drink hemlock, a very powerful poison, and thus he died, a martyr of truth. He died peacefully and surrounded by his friends. His attitude towards death should make us think about our way of living. So again, if you knew that you were going to die today, would you be satisfied with the way you've been living? With Socrates, Greek philosophy enters a magnificent phase. If you want to be more like Socrates and go deeper and deeper and deeper, go down here, get the files on our webpage and continue studying. Thanks for watching, see you next time.